unstoppable startup funding. We are bringing angel investors, partners, sponsors, and startups onto our platform and giving them opportunity to go in front of large audience. We have 100 pitching days at T-Hive, Eagle Area Mall, 4 mega pitching days at T-Hub, 15 episodes on TV5 as a part of season 1, so that 60 startups can get the opportunity to get onto the TV5 to go in front of the large audience, and partners and sponsors and investors will get the branding and marketing opportunity. The agenda is how can we build the nation with our startups, how can we create more jobs, how can we create more profits for the angel investors. So with that, I'll open for the questions. We'll have our partners, sponsors, angel investors, and also startups. We'll see questions from them. Greetings from Radha Krishna. Welcome to Unstoppable Startup Funding. Unstoppable Startup Funding is all about bridging the gap between the investors and startups. I truly believe that every startup is worth to go in front of millions of people or thousands or hundreds and ask for the investment. We need more startups, we need more investors. That's why we got into the Unstoppable Startup Funding. What we are trying to do, we blocked this T-Hive venue, this particular venue for 100 days. So startups can come, they can network, sell, pitch, raise funds, and raise funds continuously. There is no objection, like you come and you have done the pitching to the 10 to 15 investors, they are not happy, we'll give you another opportunity. And we truly want to make it international and regional. Like if you want to project or if you have a startup idea which is very local, not a problem. We will bring in the local investors, and if you think this has to go global, we'll bring the global investors. So people can pitch 100 days continuously at T-Hive in a season 1, and it goes on. And the selected startups will go to T-Hub, where we will have more angel investors and more reach to the angel investors, more funds, more angel platforms, VC funds will come and join over there. So while we are doing that, we also want to listen to what startups want and what partners want and what sponsors want. Okay, so we also have partnered with the media, that's TV5. So every startup will get a small bite opportunity on the TV5, and 60 selected startups will get opportunity to pitch on TV5, to reach out to the global customers, to reach out to the global investors, which means it's not just funding. When you really pitch on to the TV, you get funding investors, you also get customers, okay, who wants to buy your product or a service. That's the whole opportunity. And today we have Mr. Sudhir. He will introduce himself, and he is there in the startup ecosystem, technology ecosystem from long years. We will see what are his aspirations, and then we also have Bharat, who is running startups. We will see what is his ask, and we also have an angel investors, Satish Gopu, and what is he wants from the platform. Unstoppable Startup Funding. The name itself says it is unstoppable. With that, I am giving it to the Sudhir Garu.
Thank you, Radha. Thank you for the opportunity to speak about. So I have been in the startup ecosystem. I've been a digital strategist for a number of startups and currently doing the same and helping them succeed in their journeys. That's what I do for my living. And I'm glad that something like this has come up in the form of digital startup journey for people and a collaborative ecosystem combining startups, investors, and giving each one of them an opportunity. I do have some questions which I think I could ask you and find out what is your take on that, especially having seen so many things and so many startups pitching their ideas in different platforms globally. So my primary question is, everybody knows that there is startup ecosystem, platforms are there. Why a startup should consider pitching in this platform compared to the others? What's your differentiator?
Yeah, thank you, Sri, for that question. Many differentiators. The first thing is we want to see the startup as with us and then raise funds n number of times. And they can stay there till they raise funds, number one. That is their main purpose. But the hidden opportunities we are giving to them is massive marketing opportunity, massive branding opportunity. So any startup that comes to us, we are taking them on all our channels, we are promoting the startup idea, if at all we like and then we see it is investable. And we also have put up digital walls and digital vans. So the startup content will go on to the digital van and digital walls. So the startup will get a lot of visibility. And as I said, we also have TV5, which is encouraging the investable startups. So it is not about funding. One of our partners was telling the unstoppable startup funding is not just about the funding, but they're also going to train the startups how to present and how to raise funds. So definitely we are here to partner with the startups and then see how we can help them to raise funds and build the nation, build the opportunities and more jobs to the market.
So basically, you are building a ecosystem where the startup can get not only funding but a lot of mentoring help and other possible partner help.
True.
Thank you. That's a good one.
Once again, congratulations for all the efforts. We hope to see this to be more successful. Irrespective of what happens out of this, I should really congratulate for the efforts of bringing in investors, startups to one more forum in Hyderabad, which can be a little different or probably a lot more vibrant. As a startup founder, one of my critical questions has always been investors have their own metrics of measuring startups. Okay. Everybody wants 10x returns. They're not really, neither the investor nor the startup founder are faithful to each other. Okay. In such a situation where everybody is expecting to become a unicorn, do you only fund ideas which are disruptive, or do you fund ideas which are sustainable? What kind of ideas do you fund so that relevant startups can come and pitch here?
Thank you, Bharat, for that question. And technically, we want to welcome all investable startups. When we say investable startups, there are many patterns for that. Okay. So today, you talked about 10x, but we are happy if we can get 2.5x in 4.2 years. That's the minimum baseline, and the maximum is 10x. So we also have angel investor Satish Gopu over here. So we listen from him. What does he want? Tomorrow if he invests 10 lakhs in a startup, what does he expect from the startup, and what kind of output, commercial, financial, and also interior outputs? Will there be any dividends, or will there be any transparency and all? So there are a lot of questions that we need to answer. So let us also listen from Satish Gopu, what is his expectation from an angel investor, from a startup?
Yeah, Radha Garu, thank you for having me here, and congratulations for the new initiative. Basically, as an angel investor or someone who wants new talent or new type of businesses to flourish, there should be some backup. And I hope this platform gives that moral support and the financial strength to them. But as an investor, I would always be worried, what exactly happens with the funding that I do, or the consortium of funders, how is it pumped into the business, and what aspect of transparency is there? How exactly do you select a business model? Is it going to be based on your consumer base, or is it more going to be targeting the middle class, the upper middle class, or the common people, or maybe it's business helping another business? So there might be different models. So unless you specifically target a particular group unless you specifically target a particular group or a set of business models, it's going to be a very difficult task to just judge from the various pitchings that come in here. So do you already have a plan of what sort of business models will be presented, or you're just open to any model right now?
Yes, unstoppable startup funding. We are not limited to R&D startups. We are not limited to e-commerce startups. We are not limited to fintech startups or legal tech startups. But one thing which I want to see in the startup is there a product or service which is sellable? Today, if a R&D company comes and says, I have a product which will be released after 3 years, might be we are not a right platform, or might be we are not a right ecosystem. So we are looking at startups who can sell from the day one. I mean, when I say from the day one, any startup takes 0 to 9 months to deliver a product or service, a minimum. So we want to associate with any company after the 9 months from their establishment, or from the 6th month of their establishment, where there are minimum 2 co-founders, where there is a minimum 50 lakhs of investment already got into the startup, which will give us an opportunity to estimate that whether that startup will be successful or not. However, we want to keep it open for the angel investors and fund companies without limiting with a structured formula. We want to be open. And as an unstoppable startup funding platform or ecosystem or a TV show, what we want to bring in is all the government initiatives. Today, if you look at ONDC, digital commerce from the government, any services, any product can be kept onto ONDC, and you can start selling if you really have a product. So the left out patrons, the trading companies are the left out patrons. We are inviting the trading companies who buy from the manufacturers and then take it to the market, so that the trading companies are ready from a day one to put something into the market and sell on the ONDC. So like that, we want to bring in a complete ecosystem and then see there is a money revenue generated from the day one. And if the product and a service is backed by an asset, okay, we are more interested in that. Okay, capex. Technically, startups and angel investors stay away from the capex oriented startups, but we love that. For example, we invested in a company called Charge Zone. So what they are doing, they are giving charging stations. So initially people felt there is a lot of investment, and on a single highway for every 10 kilometers, you have to keep one charging station. So look at Hyderabad to Vijayawada. So 360 kilometers, you need a 36 charging stations, and each station costing 10 lakhs. So 36 into 10 lakhs is a minimum 3.6 crore investment for one project. So many startups backed out, but we invested because there is a capex. The moment we invested and the moment the station is installed, the revenue started, right? So our interest is wherever there is asset backed. So with that, I want to give it back to the panelists and then seek more questions, and then we'll put it more like a fact-oriented introduction to the digital unstoppable startup funding.
There is a follow-up question. You just spoke about that you are not very particularly keen on a particular type of startup. Like it could be fintech, it could be legal tech, or it could be pharma or any healthcare, any product or service. So if you spread you too thin in trying to attract as many different type of startups, do you think that startups will have a concern that mine probably will be overlooked because so many different type of domains are coming? There may be a panel who is selecting, who is basically choosy about a particular domain. So how do you instill the confidence on the startups that we are backed up by a large panel spanning across multiple verticals or multiple different type of investors? So is that your thought process to encourage different type of funding companies who are funded in different type of verticals, or how is it that you are looking at?
That's a good question, Sudhir. To start with, we want to encourage all the startups to register with unstoppable startup funding, and we want to give the visibility to them first. Followed by, fortunately today we have very huge number of angel investors, because we said 0% processing fee to the angel investors. So we have 3,000 plus angel investors registered with us. That's a very big number. So this 3,000 plus angel investors have a wide variety of experience. So we are looking at our angel investors themselves act as a people who look at various startups and nominate them for the next round. So the first round is all about bringing the visibility, and second round is all about are they investable. Okay. However, as a platform, as I said, irrespective of the fintech, judicial tech, prop tech, real tech, and legal tech, if there is a IP, if there is an asset backed, okay, if there is a product which is under manufacturing and there is a manufacturing IP, we are interested to associate with them where there is a capex, like no, tomorrow startup come and say, we want 10 crores, if we deploy 10 crores, the revenue will start from the 8th day or 9th day, we are more comfortable with them. Which says that, yes, however, we have a target of 4.2 years to give the returns. We are very clear, we don't want to set a wrong expectations to the angel investors. The returns will come from a year of 2 to 4.2 years. The average is 4.2 years. So to start with, we look like a ocean, but slowly we will start looking at who are actually coming to us and how can we become more prominent into the judicial tech or edutech. See, judicial tech is a totally left out. Okay, can we do something over there is what our aim.
Radhakar, is there any commitments from the existing so-called 3,000 plus angel investors in terms of money, and do you have any cap in terms of what can be the ask from startups?
What we have done is the 3,000 angel investors registered with us at a 0% processing fee, so that we are bringing more startups to them. The commitment we asked from them is minimum 5 lakhs and maximum 50 lakhs. So we are not looking at one angel investor putting all his money over here. So our experience in the last 6 years running various funding related opportunities, we are able to raise 5 crores in couple of hours. So we have a technology system. The moment we finalize and we get a minimum investable coefficient of the startup, we put it on the funding. The moment we put it on the funding, the message goes to all 3,000 angel investors, and we are expecting within 2 hours they participate with the money. That's the kind of technology we have built, but we have to come in front of you and prove it that we are really doing it. We are game for it, and you will see in the next 100 days more startups pitching and we are funding them. Thank you.
Scope that as an investor, there is always a scope that some of the investors or an angel investor want to withdraw over a period of time, or maybe they want to increase their funding base on a particular company or a startup. So how do you ensure that the transparency is always maintained and the angel investor is provided with multiple platforms so that he can decide what exactly goes on with the funding, and also on a regular basis try to mark what exactly is going into the business?
I see 2 questions. One is, what if I want to withdraw my fund in the middle? That's impossible. Technically it is impossible. If at all we say 4.2 years, it is locked for 4.2 years. A year back, we have invested in 9 companies. We did a travel with them. We tried to see if we can bring in an alternative investor and then replace the investor so that we can enable the withdrawal, right? So having 3,000 angel investors, if any angel investor wants to withdraw, I should be able to give that offer to the other angel investor and able to bring him and make the withdrawal possible. But there are challenges in the withdrawal because the expectations, the person who is investing is negotiation, the person who is withdrawing is negotiation, is taking a toll on the platform. But we want to say, lock it for 4.2 years, unless it is very critical. We are open to bring in an alternative investor, number one. Number two, if you want to add more funds, it is possible. Because every startup will raise funds, seed fund, next round, Series A, Series B, Series C. As they raise funds, you can participate. As they open up for the next rounds, you can participate. I don't see a challenge. But definitely this is not a stock market where you can trade the shares every day. And moreover, we have a problem of issuing these shares manually. However, now we are encouraging all the startups to open a demat accounts and then allocate the shares over the demat. So unstoppable startup funding is all about bringing the new era of investors and bringing the new era of startups and making them to understand you cannot hard code it. Right? There should be a flexibility. Both the parties should be ready. And we are not looking at that companies who can give a 20x growth and 40x growth which has given. We have seen, I myself experienced 80x growth in one of the companies. But we are very, very happy to bring in the companies who can give 2 to 10x growth. Minimum is the 2x growth we are expecting from a startup over a 4.2 years and a 10x growth in the 4.2 years. And I am confident that we have an algorithm to choose startups which can give that results. And at a personal level, we also want to see if withdrawal is possible.
In terms of sponsors, like who want to sponsor this, obviously you will need to make sure that people are aware of this platform. So how will you ensure that the big sponsors or the proper sponsors are able to reach out and sponsor? That is one thing. And what is your mechanism to make sure that many people know about this? So how will you increase your own visibility?
Thanks, Sudhir. That's a very good question. So first set of sponsors, we are looking at companies like Google, Amazon, Zoho, who are part of the startup ecosystem, because all this Google, Amazon and Zoho, they have their own cloud, they have their own tools. They can give a lot of positive energy and positive tools. That's what we call it as a digital process, digital technology and digital workers. Today startups need new set of tools, new set of skills. So we are looking at sponsors who has that capability, number one. So how do I help sponsors to make some money, right? So sponsors come to us so that they can also go in front of the startups and then sell their own products and services. So our first agenda is reach out to the technology startups and also retail companies. Like, if you look at the large brands of whatever the large brands in Andhra, we have like KLM Fashions, which is a mid-sized brand, but they are doing well. So why don't we bring them as a sponsor? And our own Telugu states-based large companies, if you look at Chaitanya and other educational institutes, they can sponsor the event and they can look at the lot of edutech companies and then they can actually go deep in helping themselves in giving the right education tools to the students. So that's what we are trying to do. Yes, sponsors are very important to us because we said 0% fee to the global angel investors and 0% fee to the startups. So we don't have a earning and revenue opportunity from the startups and angel investors. The only opportunity for us is revenue from the partners. When they sell their products and services on our platforms, we get some margin, and through sponsors. So we welcome large organizations, startup ecosystem organizations, incubators to sponsor the event and to take the reach beyond the origins.
Rather, from your aspect, why do you think startups should come? If you can explain it in 3 words so that they can start relating to themselves and start participating in the event.
Funding is a continuous requirement for the startup. It's not like they take a fund at a seed level or a Series A level or a Series B level and then say, now I am good. Funding is a continuous requirement. If a startup is looking at a continuous funding, we are the first choice. Number 2, if startup is looking at a immediate visibility, the very good point is today we have 5 lakh customer base who are happy to buy a digital marketing services, who are happy to buy digital equipments, we are happy to buy houses. So this 5 lakh customer base can be an immediate opportunity for the startups. That's the number 2. And we have a branding and marketing mechanism. We have wide channels and we have our own digital walls and digital vans. So we give a great visibility and marketing perks, indirect marketing perks to the startups. So startups are only going to get a visibility and a fund when they associate with us.
Yeah, Radha garu, just with respect to angel investors. As an angel investor, I would like to know why exactly I should be associated with you. And apart from that, if I want to choose a particular, if I have my own interests where I want to invest, how exactly would I arrive at a conclusion that yes, this is the right platform for me to invest? So how will this platform help me to do that?
My experience in helping investors, and that too angel investors, is very straightforward. So I am looking at 100% assured returns from the startups, which is not possible in the startup arena. But the kind of algorithms that I have built in the last 6 years, we are able to build non-failure businesses. Non-failure businesses where there is a trade, where there is an asset backed, where there is a minimum requirement for the market. They are failing at marketing it, they are failing at margins, they are failing at selling it. So we are bringing in the ecosystem where there is a minimum guarantee for the startup and a minimum guarantee for the angel investor. So this is a community where we handshake each other and then see that the startup will not fail and angel investor will get the returns. So we have almost 40,000 plus investors with us who is working on various platforms. And in that we have seen 3,000 angel investors has shown the interest. So the basic requirement that I am looking at angel investor is how do I safeguard his money? Our algorithm is built in such a way that angel investor money is safeguarded. And we are also working on a angel investor based insurance, which is again a very aspirational statement. It is not possible to have an insurance for the investment, but we are trying to bring in that angle so that more angels can come forward. And angel investors can choose whatever they are interested in and they can be selective in their investments.
Yeah, hi Radha garu. So this looks pretty good initiative by you. And as a partner, why should I have to partner with you? And what are the benefits I can get by partnering with you?
In the last 6 weeks, when we opened the partnership opportunities, we looked at CA, CS and legal services. These are the 3 major services that are required for the startups. So a partner who is offering a CA services and legal services and CS services, they will get access to the startups for company filings and legal issues. They can start selling.